When you say you want to be there to be more transparency in this industry or this field, what does that mean to you? Or what does that, what does that mean?
It's kind of crazy. Everyone's in the same business, and we're all getting paid differently, right? So how your premium dollars are being spent is very different. Where, like, as a healthcare consumer, if you choose to go to someone that you really enjoy, even though you like that service, they might not get paid as much as this corporate institution, right? And that doesn't set up good practices as a whole, as a profession, right? Where like one guy can get paid one thing from the same entity, right? Whether it's a third party payer, right? Like there's a premium for like excellence, right? But if you're not achieving that, then like there's like you shouldn't be paid that premium. And what we know now, because of a law that was passed recently, actually, and I like wrote this down, there was a law called the Healthcare Price Transparency Act 2.0, right? Also known as S.354448. It's a bill that aims to improve healthcare price transparency. Fantastic, right? And it made it so that hospitals and also payers had to put in the like 300 shoppable services by 2023. So you should know what 97110 is in terms of like PT or OT, get reimbursed by now, right? And all services will have to be publishable by 2025. All right. So if you want to get access to this file now, even though this bill exists, it's not, no one can really just see it, right? You have to like go through the weeds, or you might need to go on a website and find this .json file, right? Are you
JSON? Yeah, like structured data.
Yeah. So these are like machine readable files where like you as a consumer, it's so much data, you can't just pop it into your Excel sheet and like code through it, but there's software that it exists for it, right? And it's fascinating, right? Because now I'm a part of this group of practices in New York and New Jersey, and we're trying to fight the fight for not only our businesses, but for our friends and family, because we're part of these communities, right? We own practices that have been around for 20, 30 years. And what we're seeing, we're being gobbled up one way or the other way, right? We see insurance payers coming in and trying to do vertical integration by being the provider on one end and the payer, which is wild to me. But then you also have these large health systems that are like, you're now our provider, right? And they're under a different taxonomy, right? It's funny that we haven't done this, or you haven't done this also as an EMR company, where you handle the billing also as an MSO, right? So as an MSO is a multi-specialty organization, right? So what does that mean is you're not just, that taxonomy isn't just physical therapy, or it might include occupational therapy too. It might include speech therapy. You might add dietitians or MDs because you also do physiatry. Now, when you add in more taxonomies, you get a bonus from these payers. Or how do I know this? Well, because that's what hospitals do. That's what these larger practices do. That's what these physician-owned practices do. They get a little bonus because it's like an all-in-one. It's like a wholesale Costco. But so you have these multi-specialty organizations, but a multi-specialty organization is not the provider, right? It has to be independent. It's not owned by the shareholder. That's different than an IPA. All right, an IPA is a independent, let's say, provider association, right? Historically, physician, and they're risk-bearing entities that help doctors negotiate for like better rates, and they have processes, more admin work, and so that's different, right? An MSO is more like a third party. They help you with like maybe like payroll services, benefits, billing, contracting, right? These things, they help you with the administrative burden. But in IPA, these independent practices are all shareholders. They all have ownership. So there's a little legal nuance there. And then there's another entity, right, called the accountable care organizations. And those are like bigger, like hospitals, physician practices for those, I think it's called federal qualified health centers, and they get paid more from federal dollars like Medicare, Medicaid, because they're trying to do this value-based care thing. And that's what I found out. And I was like, okay, me, Advantage Physical Therapy, Dan, right, cannot get the same thing as these larger players. That's not right. First of all, it's not right. But how can I, right? So I start problem solving it because I'm in my first year of owning a practice, right? I see these terrible rates. I'm like, I'm losing money seeing people I want to see because they pay premiums and they have co-pays and they want to see me, but their copay is basically what I'm getting reimbursed from the insurance company because of these awful contracting. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. So I start finding a solution, and seems like other people at the time in New York, Health First, I don't take them, so I'm gonna say it. Health First cut their rates from like somewhere in the 80s to like 50 flat rate. All these private practices are like, where this is going to sink us, especially in those that see Medicaid population, because Health First is like a managed care organization, and they, I think, are more like they get money from the government, and it's more of model, like that's their model. And so my friends that own practices in like the Bronx and Brooklyn and this and that, where you see a lot more Medicaid, it's very big in New York, their revenues just got cut just by that because it's such a big part of their payer mix. And that's awful. It's so bad. But it affects a lot of other practices as well here. So we created this private practice network, and we're, trying to create our own IPA.
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.